Hi guys, it's Kiarko here, back with another speed build. This speed build is my submission for the Sims Sparked New Builders Challenge, which is, I think it's called Creature Creation or something. But basically the prompt is to build some house somewhere, wherever, for some sort of mystical, magical creature of your choice. And I might do more submissions, but this is just one I started off with because it was the first idea that popped into my head. But this is a floating fairies house. I know fairies aren't in the game, and I use a lot of the content from like the vampire packs and the witch packs, the realm magic packs. So even though fairies aren't explicitly in this game, I just kind of took those packs and I don't know, made my own little thing out of it. So this is a floating fairies home. I did this by just, making those rooms and then just putting the little foundation thing on top, and it just floats in game. I wanted to make it seem like it was some sort of naturally occurring fairy spell thing, so I wanted it to seem like a rocky piece of land that the fairy somehow, I don't know, use their magic to levitate or something. And yeah, I didn't use any custom content in this because to submit to the Sparked Challenge you have to use only game content. But it actually wasn't that difficult using only game content for this, since the Realm Magic pack and the Vampire packs had a lot of good stuff that I could use for this particular idea. So yeah, it turned out pretty well and I'm really happy with it. I never really done a fantasy build before. It was really fun just to, mess around and, push the boundaries of what I could do. For example, here I'm just, leveling up all these rocks to make it seem like this is a natural piece of foundation somewhere, like a piece of ground that the fairy, again, just, I don't know, picked out and levitated. Here I am setting up some, what I imagined are like steps, like floating steps of like a spiral staircase. And this was inspired actually by like a Barbie movie I used to watch as a kid. And I'm not sure which one it is, but there's a scene, it's like one where she's a fairy, Barbie's a fairy. And there's a scene where she steps up these levitating rocks. And I don't know, it's just like the first thing I thought of when I saw that this was the Sims Spark Challenge. So it just kind of inspired the rest of this build. So thank you to Barbie for doing that. Here I am just, setting up the little house on top of it. It's a pretty small house. It's only for a single fairy. It's not like a family build or anything. This is definitely just, like one magic fairy in the woods. Here I am just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for the roof. Because I originally wanted 2 floors for this house, but I didn't realize that I built it so high that I actually reached the floor capacity. But it worked out. I liked it being a small home. It was cute. It was still good. I went with this round roof eventually with like a grassy green top. And I never done a roof like this before where it was like rounded. And there's no like direct inspiration for that. I just thought it looked kind of whimsical and cute, I kind of wanted to put like plants and flowers on the grass on the roof, but like I just couldn't make it work with, moving it. It just didn't work with, the build tools that the game offers us. But yeah, it still looks pretty good and I'm really happy with it. I set up a little outdoor area there because I wanted the fairy to have their home be kind of an indoor and outdoor space, since I felt like, I don't know, they'd be like one with nature and stuff. So obviously they'd like to spend some of their time outside. So that was the thought process behind that. Here I'm just, choosing doors and windows. Pretty much most of what I use in this build is from the Realm Magic pack. It just really it just like had the tone of exactly what I wanted to go for. So it worked out pretty well and I was very happy with it. I chose those windows there on the outside because they didn't have any glass in them, and I liked the idea that there was just like a direct window to the outside, like a little hole in the wall so she could feel the breeze, or I don't know, just look outside her window and have no glass in between. Here I'm just setting up the greenery, putting in some flowers around the window. This build is very plant heavy. I wanted it to seem like a fairy with great connection to nature, which is why this is built in the middle of the woods. And yeah, I thought about putting a window there, and then I just didn't like how any of them looked. So I ended up not putting a window up there, even though I looked for quite some time. Here I'm just, playing around with plants, seeing what looks good, seeing what doesn't, figuring out how the heck I'm gonna do this. I hope that this does well in the Sim Spark Challenge. I've never done a Sim Spark Challenge before. It's my first time. It's kind of intimidating. I don't know what to think. I don't know what the general and like I don't know how it is. Like if any of you have experience with Sim Spark, just let me know. I know there's like a voting element to it. I don't know who votes. I don't know if the people vote or if like it's like the Sim Gurus vote. But if you guys vote, I'd love for you to go and vote for this. That'd be really awesome. I'd really appreciate it. I'd feel so great if my work was featured. I don't know. I just really like this community, and just being a part of it and doing challenges like these and having fun with you guys is just really fun for me. So, yeah. Here I am just figuring out the bathroom. I eventually decided to make it like a half bathroom on the inside, and then I put the bathtub on the outer parts because I figured that would be a great place to take a bath, like in the outside, but also in the privacy of her little deck area, but still like one with nature and outdoors. And I don't know, I just feel like it would be a very nice bathing area. So this little room is just a half bath with a toilet and a sink, and that's it. Put some curtains on there, so at least there's a little bit of privacy. And here is the sink. Those are both from the Vampire Pack, which I thought went pretty well because it has elements of, I don't know, like old school mystical stuff, which is just kind of like the vibe, I guess. Here I am choosing a carpet. I guess you could say that the tone or the style of this is like old school plant whimsical fairy, I guess. It's a little bit all over the place, but you know what? It works. I'm happy with it. I hope you guys like it too. Here I'm just putting plants in the room. Again, I wanted her to like collect a bunch of plants because she's like a plant fairy and she loves nature and stuff. So I wanted the house to be covered with plants and have plants all outside. And yeah, here I'm just figuring out what to put on the wall there because I wanted to fill up that space. I end up going with like a little picture of a boat. I don't know why. I just like the colors and I like the vibe of it. Maybe it's like a historical thing for fairies. Yeah, there's a little boat. And yeah, that's the bathroom. Now we move on to the kitchen area, I believe. Or here's me just figuring out where I'm gonna put things or what I'm gonna do. But we do move to the kitchen next. And I wanted to use these counters from the Realm of Magic pack, but I just didn't, I don't know. I liked the fridge from it, but I just ended up changing it to the counters from the Vampire pack. Because the main reason behind this decision is because I was really pissed off that the Realm of Magic counters didn't have matching cabinets. Like, I don't know why the Sims team does that. Like, just give us matching cabinets. Like, it doesn't seem that hard. I don't know. So I just literally just didn't use those counters and used those green ones instead because they did have matching cabinets, and that was pretty important to me, obviously. So, and I thought it looked better. I thought the green was nice. It had a call back to nature, I guess. The color was pretty unique. I don't usually use colors like this. Like I'm pretty anal about colors. Like, for example, on that green fridge, sometimes in other builds that pink gem would bug me because if there's no pink in my color palette, it would just stand out like a sore thumb. But in this one, it was okay because I was trying to be more loose with my color palette, more natural, more colorful because it's a fairy, I put a bed there in the corner. This is kind of like a studio, I guess. There's no private bedroom. But I figured it works, and she's, it's a single fairy. She lives alone. It's just kind of like her private space, so she didn't need a private bedroom. Here I'm just looking for things to put on the wall, or I guess just around the house. I end up putting that shelf right by the bathroom door there. I like that one a lot. It has like little potions and stuff on it, and it matches like the bed colors and stuff. Put that little book there. So I don't know, she's a fairy who reads spells. I mean, look, okay, I know this is all like witchy stuff, but in my world, in my brain of what's going on here, I imagine her as having, you know, magical powers and the ability to do things. And maybe that's just because I thought of the freaking Barbie fairy movie when I first saw that this was the challenge, and now like all my subtle inspirations are from that film. And in that movie, it's like she has powers, I'm pretty sure, like she can make stuff grow and she can control water and all these things. So I imagine that this fairy would have some sort of power. Maybe she could use spells, potions, etc., etc. Here I'm just setting up a little dining area. I really like that purple table. It's super cute. I love the color of it. Put some mismatched chairs, you know, just for that quirky vibe. Finding a plant for the table, because plants are very important in this build. I wanted to put something else on there. I don't remember if I ended up finding something or not. Oh yeah, I put that little scroll there. I just thought it was, you know, a little touch of magic in her home. I put that floating light there. I thought it looked pretty cool. I've never used that light before, because again, I don't do fantasy builds like ever, but it's pretty. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I've never used most of these objects before, just because I never do fantasy builds. But this was fun. Here I am just setting up the outdoor bath thing. I went with that bathtub from the Get Famous pack. And it's a little bit Art Deco, but I really just like the swan on it. Like, it's so unique. And again, it's a callback to, you know, animals and nature, and that was kind of what I wanted to reference in this build a lot. Here I wanted like a little, I wanted plants in this, so I created like a little plant area using just, you know, the green ground and rocks. And there I'm just decorating it. Wouldn't this be such a nice bath to take, you know, surrounded by nature and the shade, listening to the environment? I don't know, I just feel like it'd be so relaxing. I did want some sort of, I don't know, not a living room, but just like a sort of another sitting space for her. Because there's not a lot in the house, so I figured that this outdoor area is, you know, the best place that I could find, a place for her to chillax. It took me a while to figure out how I would lay this out because it was a pretty cramped space. I ended up scrapping that table and that chair, and I go with the one from Realm of Magic, I believe. Yeah, here we go. I love that coffee table, it's so beautiful. Here I'm just, you know, decorating, figuring this out, what I'm gonna do. I ended up putting an easel out here, actually. You'll see in a minute. I just wanted this space to be, I don't know, multi-purpose, I guess, you know? She's a fairy, she can do a lot of different things, she's very resourceful, and yeah. I really like that little outdoor area, it's so cute. And here I am trying to figure out what to put there, and again, I do put an easel there. I thought about putting that little bookcase, but I had to scale it down to make it work, and the tiny books just kind of threw me off, so instead, I just went with an easel. Let me find it. Nope, not the organ. I considered the organ for a second, but it just didn't match. Let's see. Yeah, there's the easel, and then here is the stool. And I know that, you know, they don't use stools in-game when they're doing that activity, but I usually just pair stools with my easels when I'm building, just because it looks more like, in reality, what a little painting area would look like, if you know what I mean. Here I'm just figuring out what to put out here, because I didn't want it to be a garden, because I wanted the nature to be more of a naturally occurring thing that she uses her powers for, rather than the activity of gardening, if that makes sense. So I put in a pond instead, which I actually end up really liking how it looks, because it's just, you know, a cute little water feature here. You know, just putting some rocks around it, just hiding that edge so that, you know, it doesn't seem like a pool. I wanted it to seem like a naturally occurring pond. Covering it with, you know, cattails and plants and just making it seem more real. I put these lily pads in it. I love these lily pads, they're so beautiful. Just decorating again, finding different plants, figuring out what works. And yeah, I feel like I work on this for a while. I love those lavender bushes. I put lavender all over this build. I just really like the bright purple color. And I usually don't, again, I mentioned this in other builds, I don't use a lot of colorful plants because they scare me, but I liked it in this one. I got adventurous a little bit here. And I love the purple. It's beautiful. Here I am just working on, covering the edges a little bit more, making it as natural looking as I can. And I know that the pool, walls jut out on the bottom. I end up covering that with rocks, so don't worry about that. I put a tree there. I really like that tree, just the way it looks, like the shape of it. It just curves forward and it's so weird. It's just so awesome. I just love weird things. I don't know. Here I'm just setting up another little sitting area because I had the space and I wanted her to have somewhere in the garden area that, that she could be in the garden area. You know what I mean? Here I'm just putting in plants and stuff all over, a little pathway to the entrance. Just making sure there's a lot of plants and flowers because, again, she's a fairy, she can make things grow, so obviously she'd surround herself with these beautiful things. And yeah. More lavender, again, I love lavender in this build. A lot of those little daisy plant things. Put a little stool there. And yeah, see, there's me trying to figure out if I could put plants on the roof, and I could not. Here's the segment where I am just covering this bottom part with rocks. Yeah, again, this was just to, make sure it looked as natural as possible. I sped this up a little bit more for you guys because I didn't want you to watch 30 minutes of me moving around rocks, because I was doing this for so long, just figuring out how to make this as natural looking as possible. Because I don't, again, as for the Spark Challenge, I don't know how they judge it, if they, open the build and they, go through it and explore it and see exactly what I did, or if it's judged just based on the top floor. I don't know how it's judged, but I wanted to make sure that it looked totally whole and complete, and I don't know, I really hope that this does well. Again, it's probably not going to be my only submission to the challenge, but it was my first ever for Sparked, so it has some meaning to me. Yeah, so here I'm just creating the rock foundation, just checking it, trying to cover as much of that pool bottom as I can. And I liked the foundation being uneven, with more rocks on that side than the other, because it looks more natural, more lifted right out of the ground, Here I am just, looking around, figuring out what I'm doing. It's always what I do, is just improv, just, I don't know, on the fly. That's my way. Again, just moving rocks, figuring out how to do this. Am I done with the rocks yet? Yes, I'm finally done with the rocks, I believe. So I wanted there to be some plant growth on the rocks. So I end up just doing this where I add some plants here and there, just again so it seemed like this was a piece of foundation just lifted right off the ground using magic. So yeah, there's gonna be some plants on it. I don't know how a plant would grow on a rock. There's no dirt, but just go with it. It's magical. And I wanted these little stepping stones to also have plants on them, just to make them more unique, to make them stand out a little bit more, and look more naturey and less floating rocks, kind of Star Wars-esque, I guess. Yeah, here I am just, putting little flowers here and there on the rocks, just making sure that it looks as seamless as possible, I guess is the word. But really it's just more as believable as I could, I think, to make it seem like those plants belong there on those rocks, and it wasn't some disastrous mistake that I made. Here I am just putting, again, flowers, bushes on. I really like how this looks. Yeah, I was really happy with this. I end up putting a pool / pond area underneath the house, because I wanted something under there, and I thought that maybe a pond would make sense, that's where it was lifted from, and then the huge gap just got filled with water, was my thinking. So yeah, it's basically the same setup as the pond on top, where I didn't want it to look like a pool, I wanted it to look like a naturally occurring feature. So covering the edge with rocks, surrounding it with plant life, just making it seem as normal as possible. Putting in these lovely lily pads that I adore. They're just so pretty. I never used them before. I just never saw them when I was scrolling through like the debug menu, and then there they were, right when I needed them. It was love at first sight. Here I am just decorating with plants and things, figuring out what the heck I'm doing. Rocks. I use rocks so much. I love rocks. I do wish that EA would give us more rocks in this game, because there's like 5 rocks. You know what I mean? I wish there was more variety, and I know that there's variety in when you like unlock the live edit objects, but honestly, it's just not enough. I just wish that the actual normal already unlocked game content just had a little bit more beef in terms of that, in terms of the build tools and what they provide us. But oh my god, have you guys seen the trailer for the Snowy Escape pack yet? I'm really excited for it. The world looks so amazing, and I heard that they're overhauling the lifestyle system and the traits and stuff. So that should be really, really fun. I might do a review of that pack or some gameplay of it, just because like I love doing speed builds, but I don't want this channel to be just speed builds. I love to give you guys more content. So let me know if you'd like to see a review or a gameplay of it or something, because I'm definitely going to be getting that pack. And yeah, here I am just, putting some trees around. Again, just making it all seem natural and a part of nature, and like, I just wanted this fairy house to seem like dead ass in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, because I didn't want like some random human sims coming up to it. I wanted it to be very private and very secluded, so I built all these trees around it so it seemed more like it was in the middle of the forest. This is actually a build in Granite Falls, just because I couldn't find this lovely landscape anywhere else. Here I am putting a mailbox in, because again I wanted it to seem like her little home, so I thought the mailbox was a cute little touch. Like maybe there's like a mailman fairy or something. And yeah, here are my screenshots. I hope you guys like this build. It was really fun to do, and yeah, I'm really excited to participate in this Spark Challenge. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.